because most of the times it's going to come from you. It's like
Hmm.
I can hear myself saying no, that's not going to work, or
Hmm.
how do you know that that's really going to work? And
Yeah.
it's like yeah, it's very it's actually it's funny, but for me it's like, okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm listening to myself and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, thank you for the risky viewpoint and whatever. But
Hmm.
I really want to play the game, and I want to see if this path leads to where I want to go, and if it the list, right? But you're actually not losing anything.
Hmm. Hmm.
You just
Yeah.
have a list of names that you don't.
Right.
It's in your head. Those are opportunities. They're
Hmm.
nothing else. It's not. They're not real sales. Even if they're prospects or leads that somebody gave you, they're just opportunities. It's nothing closed until it's closed. So it's just an opportunity. If that
Hmm.
opportunity is a no, that means that it really wasn't an opportunity. That's all.
All right. Great. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Define Your Purpose. Purpose is the birthplace of ideas. And joining me today from Santiago, Chile, really pleased to welcome an absolute expert in helping tech companies increase their sales by well over 30%, driving tons of growth revenue. And he's a brilliant sales coach. And he, I think, is here to tell us some really amazing things today. I'm really been looking forward to our conversation for quite some time. Welcome, Coach Jose Miguel Guilio. Thanks
Thank
a
you,
lot for
Carl.
joining me.
Great intro. Thank you very much.
So, I like to ask people a little bit about how they got started and maybe what sparked their interest at the beginning and made them want to get into their field. So,
Wow.
what would you say is the start of your story there?
Well, I think I've been in a way a very stubborn guy. I feel like I have always loved this like human part of the life, like connecting with other people. Yeah, I define myself like a people person.
Mhm.
But
Right.
my dad, he's an engineer, so and also all of my uncles and aunts and so it's
Mm-hmm.
like we all came from an engineering like family from my father's side, and so I was always like very keen on mathematics, science, and ways of administrating things and organizing
Yeah,
and
solving problems.
solving problems and looking at life like yeah, like a set of problems to be solved.
Mm. Yeah.
And so I actually ended up learning how to be an engineer. That's my profession. I am professionally
Right.
speaking. I'm a
Mhm.
civil engineer, and so, but I was always like with this like people connection thoughts, and how could I really connect with people and make things happen in companies. And so
Mm.
even when I was studying, I had the opportunity to study like more like science, applied science kind of engineering, so I could
Mm.
specialize on, I don't know, like electronics or electricity or mechanics or uh,
Right.
chemistry, things like that.
Okay. Okay.
And but
Yeah,
in
my,
my
my
case,
dad was an electrical engineer, actually.
oh, great. So, but I specialized on computer science, and I went
Mhm.
for information technologies because I
Okay. Yeah.
felt that that was the field where I was more connected with the like company processes and understanding how can we support people in their day-to-day life. So I started that way, and
Mm.
actually, in my first job, it was in a consultancy firm that we worked for big companies here in Chile, like banks and things like that.
Mm.
The owner saw my sales skills and my commercial skills. So he was like, okay, you got to come and sell with
Mm.
me because you have all the tech knowledge, but that I don't
Mm.
have. And you also have all of that people soft skills that we need when we're in sales. And
Right.
here in Chile, we studied 6 years. Well, at the time, we studied 6 years to become an engineer. I know that in the US it's like
Right.
4, but here it's 6 years. So I
Okay.
said, you
Mhm.
know what? I didn't study 6 years to become a salesman.
Right. Yeah.
So I said, no, I don't
Mm.
want to do this. And
Mhm.
it was like a very interesting experience because it made me also understand that sales is so important. So
Mm.
then
Yeah.
I became very into the idea of becoming an entrepreneur and creating my
Mm.
own companies. So yeah, time passed. I worked for other companies, bigger companies, and things like that. And it came the time where I said, okay, I want to be create my own company. And when that happened,
Mm.
that's when I really could understand how important sales are. Because if you don't
Mm.
have any sales, you don't have any business. And so there, I felt actually a bit ridiculous because I could see that this guy, being the owner of a company, putting his company in my hands, asking me, somebody that was just out of out of university and right
Mm.
just became an engineer, giving me
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
opportunity to
Right.
represent him and
Mm.
sell his company was actually a big honor. And when I understood that was
Wow.
that I started like working on sales. And there,
Mm.
well, that company didn't work, so I got hired again by other companies,
Mm.
and I worked on corporate with like leading sales for different startups and also with bigger companies. And so I learned a lot on leading sales teams and getting companies to buy. So I'm very focused on business to business and like on assessment selling because it's different from transactional selling. This is more like let me understand better what you need and so that I can really offer you something that's going to be of value for you.
Mm.
And so I was on that field and working on those kind of things when a friend asked me to join a coaching workshop. And so
Mm.
I went there and I just loved it because I could see that it was like that part of the. I always say that it was that side of the coin that I couldn't see because when you're an
Mm.
engineer, you look at the world from one perspective, but from this coaching side, I could see the other side of it, and I could
Mm.
really connect with how we people think and understand the world and look at it from a very humanized point of view. So
Awesome.
that was my breakthrough. And
Mm.
when
Yeah.
once I finished that program, I just wanted to be there and help as much as I could. And
Mm.
so I became a staff for that company, and then eventually I got the opportunity to certify myself as a coach. So once I did that, I started coaching, and ever since I've been working on how can I add value to people being a coach, which is something I
Mm.
love, but also based on all of the knowledge I have and all of the experiences I've had. So sales coaching was like the best um, addition,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
those skill sets. So that's how I came to this, to sales coaching.
Right. Awesome. Well, it sounds like you weren't really sick of the corporate environment or felt like you were in a dead end or anything. It sounds like you were just in kind of when you picked up all this coaching knowledge. It sounds like you just had to do something with it.
Yeah,
Is that kind of how you
absolutely.
felt? Right.
That way, absolutely, it was that way. And
Mm.
once
Awesome.
everything started, I think that for me, because I have also studied a lot on the purpose side of things, like getting very
Mm.
purposeful and
Mhm.
understanding my own purpose and how can I,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
ikigai and things like that.
Right.
And so, in a way, I feel like I required all of those steps in order for me to be prepared
Mm.
moment by moment to really
Yeah.
understand what was going on in my
Mm.
life and why I was getting into this and how could I connect it with all of the rest of my life
Mhm.
and create this like synergical value proposal that
Right. Mhm.
I really put 100% of me on each of my trainings and my sessions so
Mhm.
that I can really give and deliver all of the value I can. So I think that those are like very important things, but always checking on purpose, that's something that uh, it has been my way of directing my life. And it's
Yeah.
difficult because how I told you, coming from the parents I come from,
Mhm.
they had more like a game plan for me, and I tried to go through it a lot, but I never got the results that I was expected to get from following the game plan.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, but now I feel really it's completely different, when you have a purpose and you're
Yeah.
doing what you really love. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it seems like you spend a lot of time thinking about what you want your contribution to be because
yes,
you have so many fields of understanding and you could do so many different things that um, I feel like it's really exciting that you've figured out that this is your thing that you're into now.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. I really really love it, and it's difficult because at the beginning it's like, it's like any business. You don't really
Mhm.
you don't really know if you're gonna get the results. If
Yeah.
you're gonna sell
Yeah.
anything, if you're gonna be able to
Right.
live of it. Uh,
Mhm. Mhm.
so yeah, it's been some years of a lot of stubbornness. I say
Mhm.
uh,
Right.
people say it's like it's better to speak about like maybe resilience or persistence, but I think it's more stubbornness
Right.
because
Yeah.
it's actually
Yeah.
very difficult. But anyways, when we decide on something, right, it's like in my case, if I really go and I don't stop until I get it, then things are created. And
Mhm.
so
Mhm. Well,
but it
people talk about, like, investing in yourself and believing in yourself, and I guess that's sort of along the same lines that you really have to have that kind of deep-seated stubbornness
yeah,
to keep grinding away and until you succeed, not take no from anybody.
yeah, because most of the times it's going to come from you. It's like
Mhm.
I can hear myself saying no, that's not going to work, or
Mhm.
how do you know that that's really going to work? And
Yeah.
it's like yeah, it's very it's actually it's funny, but for me it's like, okay, thank you. I'm
Mhm.
listening to myself and it's like,
Mm.
hey, thank you for the risky viewpoint and whatever. but
Mhm.
but I
Mhm.
really want to play the game, and I want to see if this path leads to where I want to go, and if it doesn't, well, I'll just change the path. uh,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna keep on going for that goal. That's what really drives me.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah,
and
it's like the obstacles are really difficult when you're starting out and you're
yeah,
beginning, but then when you get past them and you're still okay, then you realize how that you're stronger. So you I think your perspective changes and you become grateful for the difficulty after a while.
yes, yes, and that's true. It's like because difficulty, in a way, it molds us. It's a, it gives
Right.
us a
Mhm.
new uh, it's not only a new viewpoint, or it's not only teaching, it's also like a new form,
Hmm.
a new shape of who we are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes we can't see it, but
Hmm.
in my case, I've seen that because of that transformation, then now I'm prepared for new things that I wouldn't even think about before. But now
Hmm.
I can see that I'm prepared for them, and I can know that they exist, and I didn't even know they did. And now that I can see that, it's like it makes sense. So
Right.
it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, we don't really know why we're living what we're living right now, because we're now. But if we give it the time, then sometimes it's just part of the path.
Hmm. Yeah, it makes me think of like you can't build muscle without resistance. And
Yeah,
even though there's the resistance and the difficulty, you have to put in the work to get the result.
yeah. Yes,
And
and if you're
a
in the
lot of things are
moment
like that.
where you're feeling the maximum resistance, and your your muscle is hurting,
Hmm. Hmm.
if you only focus on that, then you're like, why am I going through this? Right? It's like,
Right.
why
Yeah.
am I going through all of this pain? It doesn't make any
Hmm.
sense. But
Hmm.
once you see the results of going all over that pain, and your muscle grows, and now you're prepared
Right.
for, I don't know, any kind of activity you wanted to prepare for, uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
hanging yourself or whatever, and now you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
do it, then it's like, okay. And actually, and that's very interesting. We human beings, we're capable of enduring a lot of pain, and then we can do it
Mhm.
again, and the next time it's not going to feel as painful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. We're
we
crazy adaptation machines.
yeah, yeah, it's
We get used to anything, really.
so then you do it again, and this time it didn't really hurt that much, and then you do it
Hmm.
again, and then you do it again, and at some point it's like
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
accustomed to it, and so I don't really feel it, and it's not painful again. And
Hmm.
so now I'm eager for what's the next thing, what's the next
Hmm.
pressure, what's the next big thing I'm going to create, or I'm going to aim for. So
Hmm.
it's great.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe kind of like cold calling and sales.
Absolutely. It's, yeah, the first time, maybe it took you a week or more to, just
Hmm.
call for the first time.
Yeah.
But once you did it, and you did it several times, because
Hmm.
maybe you will never, it's like that frightened of they're gonna say no, it's always gonna be there. It's not like it disappears. It's always gonna be there. But you just learn how to manage your own thoughts and your own feelings, and say, okay,
Hmm.
I know that they can say no, but that's what
Yeah.
I already have. If I don't
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
anything, it's the same
Right.
thing as getting a no, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So if I
Hmm.
call, at least I have a chance that they will say yes, right? So if I look at that, then every cold
Yeah.
call is an opportunity. If they
Right.
say no, it's okay. I'm back to
Hmm.
where I
Hmm.
was. I have not really lost anything. That's very important. I
Well,
work.
your pitch improves too. You get better at presenting your
Yes,
yourself, your case,
yes,
with every no.
yes. Absolutely, you can learn. So it's not only a chance or an opportunity to get a yes, but it's also a chance and an opportunity to learn, and
Yeah.
that's very
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I actually teach that a lot. I to all of the participants I have, it's like, I know that you believe that if you call, because at the beginning of the day, you have, I don't know, 10, 20, 50 people, 100 people you want to call. I don't know. That depends on you.
Mhm. Mhm.
So imagine you have 50 people.
Yeah.
So when
And
people,
every business owner gets to this point eventually, I feel like.
yeah. So
Whatever industry you're in, you get to this point.
absolutely. Maybe nowadays you don't call them, but you send them a message or an email,
Mhm.
or I don't know, you contact them through LinkedIn or whatever. But
Mhm.
but you're connecting, right? So you have
Yeah.
all of those people you want to connect, and
Mhm.
You know that whenever one of them says no, you like get the person out of the list, right? So it
Mhm.
feels like you're losing somebody from the list, right? But you're
Mhm.
actually not losing anything.
Mhm. Mhm.
You just
Yeah.
have a list of names that you don't.
Right.
It's in your head. Those are opportunities. They're
Mhm.
nothing else. It's not. They're not real sales. Even if they're prospects or leads that somebody gave you, they're just opportunities. It's nothing closed until it's closed. So it's just an opportunity. If that
Mhm.
opportunity is a no, that means that it really wasn't an opportunity. That's all. So you're really
Right.
like
Yeah.
unfolding what it really is. That's all.
Mhm. Mhm.
You're
Yeah, yeah.
actually gaining information because at the beginning you had
Mhm.
a list of, I don't know, 50 names. Now you have a list of who are really interested. Maybe,
Yeah, yeah, I like to think of it as I'm just sorting is all.
yeah,
And I'm not I like to say I'm not looking for yeses, I'm just looking for decisions. I wanna help people make decisions that are good for them in any case, and that's part of my job as a coach. So, that's also part of sales is helping people make decisions. So, I don't tie myself to that decision personally. It's just whether they want to pick up a tool at the time and use it or not. If it's not useful to them, what difference does it make to me? you know
absolutely. Absolutely. And that's very important. As you said, it's just a decision and they're not deciding over you. It
Right.
happens a lot with salespeople. They feel that whenever their client says no, it's like if they're saying no to them, right? So when you're in that
hmm
position, when
hmm
you feel that whenever somebody says no, they're saying no to you, then of course you don't want to
Right.
become a rejected person, and
hmm
you don't want to put yourself there. So it's very
Right.
important to realize and have a mind shift, right? And
Yeah.
understand that they're not saying no to you. They're saying no to whatever you're offering. Maybe it's a
hmm
program, a product, or a service, or whatever. They're saying no to
Yeah.
that,
Right.
not to you.
hmm
So
hmm
don't take it personal. It's
Yeah.
very important. No, don't take it
Yeah.
personal. I have had amazing clients that I can even today call them friends, and they have said to me no several times on different things I have went to
Right.
sell to
hmm
them.
hmm
But they never say no to a call. They never say no to a
mm
meeting. They never
Yeah.
say no to, speak with me. That means
mm
that they have a big yes for me, but it depends on what I'm offering
mm
if they're going to say yes or no to that, what I'm offering, right? So
hmm
it's very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah. Well, you get a good reputation as someone who watches out for people. When you want to be the trusted advisor. So maybe not everything is for everybody that you have for sale, but you're still the trusted advisor at the end of the day.
Yes. Yes, or at least the that's very important also. I always tell my participants, and it's like it's basic for my way of selling and all of my trainings. We shouldn't focus on sales as salespeople. We should focus
Mm,
on the relationship,
mm,
because
yeah.
when we focus on the relationship, what happens is that you never know, right? In the future, maybe
hmm
that person that you're related with can call you to ask you for something that maybe you have and can offer, or you don't have, but you can offer a reference to somebody else. And
Totally.
then really when you're like when you're
hmm
managing the relationship, and as you said, like I'm gonna be considering you like the person that I'm going to be asking for things, then that gives you an amazing amount of opportunities, because now
hmm
you're knowing me better, all of the needs I have. You can refer me
hmm
with other professionals that maybe they can really do what you don't, which also helps you not only build a better relationship with me, but also with the other guy who that you're
hmm
referring. And
hmm
so you're getting more and more opportunities everywhere, and that's
Yeah.
going to
And
all.
you can connect people too, even if things that people are selling have no bearing in your life and don't matter to you, you can still remember in your mind that that's what they're doing and that's what they're selling. And then when you meet someone else who needs that, you can connect those people, and making that connection comes back to you too.
Absolutely,
Those people
absolutely.
appreciate that.
Because people will remember when you
Mhm,
gave a good reference to somebody, that person will say, "Wow," you know. And
mhm,
so it just to connect and create relationships, that's
mhm,
our real aim. And of course, then when we come to the part where I'm offering something, and because and also I say, okay, you got to be prepared for that. It's like once we're related, so there's confidence, because in every relationship there's
mhm,
a level of confidence. So now we're confident, and you're
mhm,
telling me what your needs are. So now I understand what you really need. Then I can
right,
check if there's something that I can offer you that is
mhm,
really of value for you. But if I don't know what you really need, because I'm not
mhm,
relating to you, then how could I offer you something? I don't have
mhm, right,
permission to do that
right.
because I don't really know, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But now that
exactly.
I know what you need, I can offer something. So
Mhm,
that's like the
yeah,
best thing to do,
mhm,
and when we do it that way, then it's so easy for the other person to say yes, to
mhm,
close,
yeah,
because it comes from a real need, from a real relationship. It doesn't come
yeah,
from a I'm just trying
mhm,
to sell this.
mhm, mhm, yeah. And it takes real it starts with real listening, I think. You know,
Absolutely.
to really listen to what someone's actual need is and what their situation is and their problem, and really understanding where they're coming from. So, not just kind of hearing, but thinking about what you're hearing, and
Hmm.
that's a form of caring as well.
Yes,
People pick up on that and they can feel that, I think.
absolutely, absolutely. That's why I think that coaches, we should all be very good salespeople,
Mm. Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
about listening,
Mhm.
and that's a
Mhm.
skill we have, and it's about asking
Mm.
to understand.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, and we're, well, maybe we're like the
Yeah.
best suited people in the world on asking, because all of our training as coaches is about asking and making powerful questions. So,
Mhm.
the more we can understand what the need is, well, the better offer we can make.
Yeah. Yeah. And the better to help the client more over the long term, I guess,
Yeah.
build the relationship better.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, so I wonder what is it like when a client comes to work with you in your program then? What kinds of things happen when they get started?
Well, it depends on each client. So maybe
Okay.
uh,
The
let me
business they're
tell
in
you
and all maybe?
the different kinds of clients I have.
Mm,
So yeah, I would say I have like three different basic lines of working together. One is
mm,
the one-on-one coaching, where I would be coaching a leader, usually of a company. Maybe it's a company owner. So there, I could come from working with a solopreneur to
mm.
working to with maybe a commercial manager, or like a
Okay.
CCO, somebody that's leading on sales or on commercial like activities within his or her company.
But
So
maybe they wanna pull in more of their group for help as well? Do you do that sort of thing?
yeah, so one product or one service is like for that person. In order for
Okay.
that
Mhm,
person to lead better, to have a better understanding on how to manage and define a sales process, and then
mm.
lead better with their groups and their teams.
Okay.
There's because some people say, I don't want you to work with my team yet, but I want you to help me as a sales manager or something like that. So that's
Mhm.
like one kind of client I get. And then
Okay.
and then
Mm.
there's the other one that actually he's looking for a way of growing the business through their sales team.
Mm.
So that usually is more niched in a in like maybe the big portion of the small companies and the medium companies that already have a sales team, maybe three people or more that are in the sales team. So they have some kind of sales process already defined, but they don't really know a lot about sales. So that's
Mm.
why I work a lot with
Okay.
technology companies or
Mm.
very technified companies, because those companies tend to be created by someone that is already from that industry, like a lawyer
Mhm.
that creates a law firm, and then that lawyer needs to sell. So he
Right.
puts lawyers to sell, right? That's like the
Mhm.
obvious thing for that person to do. Or in
Mhm.
technology, they tend to do the same thing. They start
Mm.
a
Mhm.
technology company, so
Right.
they create a maybe a product or a service, and then when it comes to sale, they start selling themselves, or they ask their own tech
Mhm.
team to go and sell things, right? So
Yeah.
those are people that are really unaware of how the sales process goes. They don't
Mm.
really
Yeah.
understand a lot of the skills they require. So
Mhm.
I will be working with them uh, on their soft skills, how they're called, right? They're not really soft, but it's like more on the human side,
Mhm.
and so that we can really connect better, uh, make questions, like powerful questions, understand what are the
Mhm.
needs before. Because what
Right.
also happens when, and it happened so many times to me as an engineer, that it's really easy for me to get it. So when you're a technology engineer and a customer asks you something, and you have the opportunity to explain in detail how this thing works, then because we're so fond to my creation and everything, we tend to speak a lot and tell, okay, I'm going to tell everything about it and all of the details. And it's great if you're speaking with another engineer, but if you're trying to sell it, then you're just giving too many details, and now the person that asked the question
Yeah.
has even more questions. So now you're not helping that
Mhm.
person make a decision, you're actually making that person get away from deciding anything, because now it's so complex that I'm not really understanding if it's a good idea actually to do this
Right.
or not. And so maybe they
Right.
have
Yeah.
a need, but now they have so many like information, so much information
Mhm.
to look at, too many like tasks or activities to go through now, that they're like, okay, I'm just overwhelmed, maybe I'm not going to do anything, right? Because they get afraid. And that's not what you should be doing when you're selling. When you're selling, you should
Mm.
say, okay, I'm going to be there with you, assure the person I'm going to help you, so don't worry of all the steps and all of the details. We're going to be working on them whenever they're needed, right?
Mm.
So it's not
Yeah.
really
Mm.
important to know all of the things that could happen. It's important to know that I am the professional that can help you, and I have the team, and we know what we're doing. So just let us help you, because we know that we can create a lot of value for you. And many times that kind of speech is much better than giving all of the details, right? So
Yeah.
work with
Yeah.
teams.
Mm.
It's very important. It's high value for them just to understand those kind of shifts. Like,
Yeah.
customers don't need all of the information, you know?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
those kind of things make them really much effective on their sales. And the third line of
Yeah.
action that I do is that I train salespeople that they're willing, instead of working with me one on one, they're willing to do something on groups, but they don't have like a big amount of people in their companies, so they don't really have a sales team or something like that. Maybe they are solopreneurs, or they sell for themselves, or maybe they're independent professionals and they will need to sell for themselves, or
Mm.
they're part of a sales team, but it's not like the company is going to be actually buying the whole, training for the whole company, but they are really willing to get their skills become better, so they
Mhm.
come to my open trainings, and
Oh, great.
I
That was my next question, kind of about solopreneurs, and that's
oh
perfect.
yeah. So I have those three ways of working, and
Mhm.
it
Nice. Awesome.
whenever you work with me, maybe it looks like when it's a group session. It's like, okay, we're gonna be speaking about this theme today. I always ask, why are you here? So it's like
Mm,
for me, it's very important to know what's the purpose of every person whenever we
mhm.
are meeting. So. What's our purpose for today? What's your purpose for
Right.
today? What do you want to get from the session today?
Yeah.
And then we started working on this theme, and I coached somebody, and it's very valuable because when somebody brings a real life problem or issue that one the person wants to work on, and I coach that person, then that helps all of the people that is in the room to understand that,
Yeah.
and they
Mhm.
can get value from it. So yeah, it's great when we do it on group, and when it's a one-on-one, it's also great. But it's there, it's maybe more like one-on-one coaching. So it's like what's your issues, what are your beliefs, what's going on with you, uh,
Mhm.
and how can transform this in a way so
Right.
that you, or what are your breakthroughs, what do you need to break through to get the results you want and things like that. So it's very
Mhm.
applied on sales, but it's one-on-one coaching or mentorship too.
Right. Awesome. So, what's your take on scripts? A lot of people work really hard on their script to, I guess, to include just the relevant information that they want in the sales process. How do you coach people on scripting and building a script, or do you not believe in scripts?
Oh no.
Handling
I,
scripted objections or
yeah, I believe in scripts. I believe in
okay,
scripts a lot.
okay.
It's
Mhm,
for me, it's basic, a, a sales conversation based on relationships, it requires some structure.
yes.
um,
Mhm,
there are some things I need to
yeah,
know before, and there are things I need to know later. So
right.
it needs a structure.
Mhm,
The
mhm,
better the structure I
yeah,
have, the best, or it's gonna flow better. It's gonna be smooth,
right,
right?
right,
So
right. Yeah.
I can't start asking. Let's make it foolish. I can't start asking you, okay, will you buy me? I don't know, the
Right, right.
program ABCD, and it's like, yeah, no,
Mhm,
why not? Because I don't know what the program is about, right?
mhm,
It's like
mhm, mhm,
you
yeah,
can't start asking that. It's like
yeah, yeah.
doesn't
Or
work,
like with
right?
dating a person, you can't rush it.
Yeah, so everybody knows that, right? So,
Mhm, mhm,
but when we create a script, then we
mhm,
go even deeper on this same phenomena. So there are
mm,
some questions that
yeah,
you have the permission to ask them once you already created some confidence, and for that you had to ask other things at the beginning, right?
right. Yeah,
So
yeah,
it you have to script it,
yeah. Mm,
because if you don't,
mhm,
then
mhm.
you can easily lose control of what are you saying and what are you asking,
Right,
right?
right, right. Then the conversation is just
Yeah.
all over the place, and who knows what happens.
Yes, and there are some tips you have to remember, right?
Yeah,
If I'm selling something to you, then I need to get in charge of the conversation in a way. I need to
yeah.
manage it in a way.
Mhm,
If I just let you take over, and
mhm.
you ask whatever you want, then it's like my my
You
role.
get unpredictable results then.
Yeah,
Who knows what's gonna happen after the conversation, right?
exactly, because my role is not really, defined, and now you're taking control, so you're gonna get whatever
Mhm,
you want, but
mhm.
maybe information, but I'm not really selling then. I'm
Mhm.
not being
Mhm.
proactive. I'm not really being the person that is understanding. It's more you're understanding me than me understanding you. Now we can play about that. It's like, okay, I
Mhm.
can let you, of course, take control of a portion of the conversation so that you can know me better. What do you want to know about me? How would you really? Uh, what would you want to know in order to believe in me or to be confident with me? So it's, of course, I let you ask things about me. But
Mhm.
if as part of the conversation you start going like to speak about another theme or another issue, I have to grab that and like, hey, let's keep on working or speaking about what's going on here, right? Or what I
Mhm.
want to
Mhm.
understand better. What are your needs too, and so that I can see if there's some any way I can help you and I can support
Right.
you.
Right.
So it's very important to have all of that scripted. Now,
Mhm. Mhm.
I tend to believe that people think that a script, because they are, maybe they're thinking like on, yeah, when we were in school and you were going to act something, right? So you had a script and you had to say it
Mhm.
exactly how the script said it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Reading it and
People
following.
get too caught up in the script.
Yeah. So maybe like following Shakespeare or something like that. But the truth is that nobody does that. Not even
Mhm.
actors,
Mhm.
right? It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, very very interesting moments of world renowned movies were created in the moment, right? It just
Mhm.
the actor
Yeah.
said something that was completely out of the script, but it was
Mhm.
very aligned with the situation. So
Mhm.
it,
Right.
it's like it's a mix of those things. We have
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
understand what the structure is. Uh, if I'm asked this, maybe my best answer or the I don't know, my even it's my own life that I'm going to be speaking about, right? So I'm going to be telling you about this time that I worked with somebody, right? So I'm going to give you
Mhm.
maybe an example of whatever I've been doing.
Mhm.
Well, why wouldn't I beforehand think, well, in that case, maybe the best way of explaining this is telling the other person about this experience and not an any experience, right? So
Right. Mhm.
it's just to be prepared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having a script is just to be prepared.
Mhm.
It's not like you gotta follow word by word something that's already written in the document. It's not that. It's
Mhm.
having the structure and be prepared.
Yeah.
Of course, when I'm delivering a training, the training is 100% scripted. Like
Mhm.
I'm going to speak about this and then about this and then about this,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
these are
Yeah.
my examples and these are my
Right.
ways of helping people have an aha moment. And if that didn't work,
Mhm.
then I have a second example and a third one, and and
Mhm. Mhm.
because I want all the people that I have in my trainings to really take something, right? So I'm going to create
Mhm.
different ways of helping them take something.
Right.
That has to
Yeah.
be scripted. It's like
Mm.
you
Mm.
can't
Mhm. Mhm.
be creating in the moment all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. For sure. Well, I've heard a lot that people do business with people who they know, like, and trust, um, and those are the kind of the predetermining factors of the buying decision, and so I think that a lot of maybe a lot of that is how fast you're able to build rapport with somebody. Do you have any tips that you talk with your clients about building rapport with somebody that are helpful in that arena?
Well, yes, and actually, I base a lot, or yeah, I like to construct over understanding the other person.
Mm,
So I like to
mm,
help my participants also to understand that we are all different people. So some of us are going to be more likely to be visual people. So we tend to like somebody that's also like maybe looks good, right? Or maybe we are more auditive and we will like somebody that hears good. So
Mhm.
the
Right.
words you're using, the pitch of your voice is going to be very important.
Mm.
And but for other
Mm.
people, it's more how you make them feel, because maybe they're more
Right.
kinesthetic, right? So
Yeah.
how can you manage all of that, and how can you fast understand with who are you speaking? Are you speaking with somebody that is
Mhm.
more auditive or visual or kinesthetic? And
Yeah.
that's part of creating rapport,
Mm.
because once we
Mhm.
are really connected with that person, like knowing rapport as a coaching tool, right? Now that I'm connected with you and that I'm actually putting myself in your position the best way I can really understand better how you look at life, right? How do you
Mm.
perceive life? Is it more visually, is
Yeah.
it more auditively, or is it more kinesthetically?
Mhm.
So now that I can get that, now I can communicate with you better. But that's like
Mm.
one
Yeah.
way, because there are other ways. It's like we can also use disc, right? And understand that some people are more willing to take risks and other are not. And
Yeah.
so some people will be more fond to details and others no. And some
Mm.
people would want to really uh, be sure about something before they decide, and others are not. So
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
those variables are
Different
also
values.
important. Yeah. And so we usually can have some classifications. For instance, salespeople, sales manager, those people are, we tend to be more risk lovers than
Mm.
I don't know, finance managers or accountants. They like details.
Mhm.
They want to be very sure. So
Yeah.
if
Mhm.
you're going
Yeah.
to sell to that people, that kind of persona, right? Then
Mhm.
it's completely different than selling to to the
Mm.
accountant or to the finance, the CFO, than
Yeah.
selling to someone that's from sales. And
Mhm.
so the way of speaking is going to be different. And
Mm.
so there
Yeah.
are lots of of tips that we can come from, like from
Mhm.
your pitch of voice, from how you stand, from what are the kind of, and there's also
Mhm.
some kind of body language that speaks a lot of whoever you have in front of you, and for whatever you have that person in front of you. And it's like those powerful
Yeah.
postures always help create a better connection than
Mhm.
maybe a lousy posture, like if you're like this, and then you're
Right. Right.
looking like very, oh, that kind
Sure.
of conversation is going to be, people will get bored. They will not really want to speak with you anymore, right?
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
you're trying to deliver a lot of value, but if you're coming from that place, it's not going to work. And
Yeah.
so there are lots
It's
of
true.
tips that we
It's
work
true.
on, like on prepare yourself, prepare your body, prepare
Mm.
your voice, prepare how you look,
Mhm.
prepare like on the script, what are you going to speak about? What are you going to ask?
Mhm.
Uh, but all of that is just, why do we do that? We do that because we really want to understand what you need and how can I help you, so that it's all based on
Mhm.
value.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, that's great. So I wonder what are you doing now to expand your business this year? What do you have coming up? You have
Well, this year was
any new
especially good for
programs or
me,
anything?
and I could prepare it based on, I've been working a lot on two like lines of prospecting, we could say. One,
Okay.
it's has been based on referrals. I always, when I work
Yeah.
with, um, you know people that are just starting, like they're creating their own business and maybe they're just starting, I
Mm,
always tell them,
mm,
you should start with referrals. So,
mm,
and because
right.
those are people that
Yeah.
already know you, those are people that are
Mhm,
they really trust you. So you can speak with old clients, for instance, people that already have hired you. Those are the
mhm.
people that can help you get referrals. You
Yeah.
can also
Yeah.
speak with friends or colleagues, uh,
Mhm,
other people that also studied the same thing you did, or they were working
mhm.
with you in the same company, so they know you
Yeah.
professionally, so
Yeah.
they can refer you because they
People will surprise you too. That people who you think will not be interested at all will actually take interest or know somebody who
yeah,
would be interested and want to talk to you. So I think it's important to have those conversations, even though you think that there's no reason to. I think just
yes,
getting it, talking with people is invaluable when you're trying to build your business.
absolutely, it's invaluable. As you say, it's 100% invaluable because when you're speaking to other people about what you want to create and how you want to create it, and even when you're offering,
Mhm,
um,
mhm.
you can learn a lot. Because when people say
Yeah.
no, and you really build the trust first, and so when they tell you no, you can ask why not. It's like,
Mhm.
what does my offer lack for it to really be interesting for you, or
Right.
maybe what does it have too much of, right? What should I
Mhm.
take out from it so that you would feel like better? And if you build trust, they will tell you, okay, so the thing with your offer is, maybe for instance, in my case, at the beginning, I wanted to sell these trainings that were like 2 days long. Like, okay, we're gonna get your people
Mm.
out of whatever they're doing. We're gonna put them in a place, and we're gonna just work with them 12 hours a day, 2 days or 3 days,
Boot
and
camp.
they're gonna come out transformed. And so they would say, "You're nuts! I can't tell my all of my sales force to stop selling for 3 days. That's not gonna
Mm.
happen."
Okay.
So,
Right.
okay, then let's adjust. Let's see how we can work this through. So now, for instance, I'm working more like on half days.
Mm,
We start intense with 2 or 3 sessions that are half days, and then we
mm.
go to a weekly session that it's maximum 2 hours.
Wow, nice.
So now they're like, okay, that sounds reasonable. And if I didn't receive the feedback, then I wouldn't have ever, shifted my product and my offer. And
Yeah,
so I would still be trying to sell something that just maybe there are companies that would be open to that. I always offer it. And some companies are like, okay, we can do a 1 day and then, use the other meetings.
mhm, mhm,
Uh, and it helps a lot because the more time you can
mm,
have people put together, focused on the same theme, and knowing them, just looking at them, for the longer time, then more things about them come to arise, and you can see who they really
right,
are,
mm,
and then you can really help them much better. But of
mm,
course,
yeah,
not anybody would be open to the idea of going to a seminar or whatever that's going to take hours. So
mhm, mm,
yeah, you just adjust your product. You just adjust, and for that, you require
mhm,
to speak with a lot of people. With
mm,
the more people you
mm,
speak, and the better trust you get from them, you build with them, then you're gonna get better results. You're gonna learn more
mhm,
about what's really needed, what people are really willing to do, how much
mhm,
effort they're willing to put in, how much
right,
time, how much money, and then the better you understand that, you can just adjust your offer and you start getting sales.
right. Wow. Yeah, awesome. These are great tips. This
Yeah.
I love this. And this is meaningful, I think, to all kinds of industries too.
Well, yeah. Actually, I think that there is no industry where this.
It's like whatever business you're in.
it doesn't matter what you're trying to
Mhm,
sell, but if
mhm,
you really understand what's needed, then your offer is going to always, you know, be heard. But if you don't understand what's needed, well,
mhm,
then you're going to be offering something that nobody will really will understand the value of it. So
mhm, mhm.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe that's the only thing that gives sales a bad name is when when people are trying to get sold things that they don't need or want, or it's in their
yeah,
face. And
yeah. People, for instance, people in insurances, they tell me it's so difficult to sell insurances, and I'm like, why? It's not difficult. They say because it's intangible. And it's like, okay, come on. I sell trainings. That's 100% intangible.
right.
It's not a product, you know, it's a service.
Mm,
So,
mhm, mm,
but the problem with insurance is it's not that it's not the fact that you're selling something that it's not tangible. It's the fact that I don't know who created those products, those services, right? It's like for instance, I don't know, here in Chile, they're selling this medical insurances. So it's like, whenever you get hospitalized, we will help you with the payment of each night of hospitalization. And it's like, okay, it sounds great, but I don't have that. You know, it's like, I'm not really.
connected.
uh, I'm not. I'm not willing to be there in that position, right? So why would I
Mm,
take an insurance that's only for
mm,
that, so specific? Maybe
yeah.
let's take something that it's, I don't know, maybe broader, and it's like in whenever I have any kind of issue, you're gonna help me with the payment of it. Maybe it will take. It's gonna be needed for me to be hospitalized, but maybe not. I don't know, right?
Right.
So, but if it's super specific, then it's like no. Why would I do that? I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna need some, of course, health or medical assistance, but maybe I'm not gonna get hospitalized. So. Why would I be paying for an insurance that I'm not really gonna ever use, or I'm gonna use it in, I don't know, 10 more years?
Mm,
It's like
yeah.
nonsense, right?
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
So the fact is, who created that product, and did they really learn who are the people that are willing to pay for that? Maybe, I don't know, my
Right.
parents, they would be willing to pay for that because they're like in a higher age, and they're getting more uh diseases, and maybe they can feel like, okay, in their way of thinking, I would love to, if I need to get hospitalized, that I can pay for that, right?
Mhm,
So I'll pay an insurance for that. But in my case, maybe it's, I'm just not part of the niche. So whenever somebody just knocks your door and says, "Hey, I bring you this insurance. You should take it. Everybody's taking it, or whatever." It's like, well, I don't care. I don't want it. So that's the problem with
mm,
that kind of sales. When
mm.
salespeople try to offer
Right.
you something and make you buy it just because they're offering it,
Right, right.
the
Yeah.
problem. That's annoying. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
Don't ask.
Right.
Don't offer it to me. I don't. You know. You,
Totally.
it's so easy. It's like, get in touch with me, ask me things.
Mhm.
Now that you know me better, for instance, you know, the guy that actually sells me insurances, he's like, he knows me. He
Mm.
knows my wife. He knows I have 3 kids.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
he knows me. He knows I have a car. He knows I. So so he's like, well, you should get a insurance for your car. You know, uh, insurances for your kids. You should start already. You know, building a an amount of money for university or college for your kids. So maybe you should start now paying for
Mhm.
that, this insurance that is also you know um,
Mm.
creating just an amount of money that's going to be for things like, for instance, college or university.
Mhm.
So he knows that, and he can offer me things that are for me
Mm.
and that give me
Right.
value.
Hmm.
So that makes sense. The
Yeah.
other things don't. And yeah, we tend, or
Hmm.
when we don't know about sales, we tend to just put an offer in the market and offer it to everybody. And it's like, well, somebody's going to say yes. Well, yes, it's true. But nowadays that we're using digital marketing and we're paying for the leads, it's like you better pay for a lead that's a real lead.
Hmm. Hmm.
Don't pay
Right.
for anybody. It's like there are billions of people out there. You don't want to pay not even a cent
Yeah.
if you're going to be paying
Yeah.
it for billions of people just to see whoever says yes. That doesn't work.
Right.
That doesn't
Yeah.
work.
I laugh when people try to sell lists, of email addresses. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
only I always say only suckers buy leads because it just doesn't work. You can have a huge list of 10,000 email addresses, and what good does it do? It doesn't
Nothing.
really.
Absolutely nothing. Actually, nothing. And yeah, I remember now helping in this company, and so the owner says, "Oh, I have this database." So in my head, when a business owner tells me, like for instance, you tell me that you have a database, in my head is like, okay, so you know that person's name, their role, where do they
Mhm.
work, what's and some kind of characterization of that person, right? Because you have a
Yeah.
database, not just a list. How you're saying.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, great, let's check it." And so we started looking at the
Mm.
database, and it was basically like a list of emails.
Mm.
And so from some emails, you can learn the name of the person, but from other emails, you can't even know how the person is called. So
Right.
it's like this useless. I can't do anything with
Mhm.
this. What's that? We can send them emails. Of course, we can send them emails, but that's not gonna create
Mhm.
anything of value
Yeah.
unless you really know who the person is and understand
Mhm.
if it makes any sense to offer anything to that person.
Right.
So yeah, email marketing is it's an art. You
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
have to. There are also structures that are needed before you can do that. Now, in my
Mhm.
case, I say
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in marketing, but I have the same view I have for sales. I When I work with a group of that's on marketing, I say, okay, let's work on really understanding who we're speaking to. It's like from
Mm.
my side,
Yeah.
it's like I try to use the same concepts.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So, if someone wants to get a hold of you, I know you're on LinkedIn,
Yes.
um, and let's see, where else are you? You have other social. Yeah. Let's see, chillistarts.com. Is that your website?
Yes, that's my website,
Great.
silastarts.com, and
Okay.
so I'm
Mhm.
I'm always there. I have a blog, and I'm always there, like posting different things.
Okay.
Right now, I'm posting like once a week in English and the other times in Spanish because I'm
Oh,
based
nice.
in Chile. But
Okay.
so yeah, so we could also grab value and information from there.
That's
Then
great.
those same posts that are in my blog, I also put them on LinkedIn. I'd rather use LinkedIn. Like it's better
Mhm.
for me than any other like social network. But
Mhm. Okay.
I also have presence in Facebook and um, I don't know, Google Business and things like that. But they don't
Okay.
work as good as LinkedIn for me because it my thing is much more professional, so it works
Mhm.
better. That's like my other
Yeah.
way of
Yeah.
prospecting is LinkedIn right now. And so yes, and if anybody wants to contact me, you can do it through my LinkedIn page or my LinkedIn pages. It's called
Great.
JM,
Yeah.
like for my name from it stands for Jose Miguel.
Okay.
And but you can also find my profile, and there you can also contact me.
Sure. Yeah. Awesome. Great. Well, I've really enjoyed our conversation today. Thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Oh no,
Um,
I'm super happy. Thank you for this opportunity to be in your podcast. I
oh,
know
for sure.
you've been doing this for a while, and you have great content, and so yeah, it's always amazing for me to have a conversation with somebody like you. And
Oh,
also,
thank you.
if you, I'm grateful to see that you said the value I was giving was great, and I love to
Oh,
know
yeah. Yeah.
that you're happy with it. My idea is always to just deliver all the value I can wherever I go. So I'm grateful
Great.
for that opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like to say when we walk with purpose, we collide with destiny.
Wow.
So
Great say.
thank you. Thank you very much for joining another episode of Define Your Purpose. And I'll see you guys next time.
See you.
Thanks a lot.
Hug.
Take care.
Bye.